Hello everyone and welcome back to another beautiful day in Geistal, Austria. So here I am taking care of the rigid track. We're in the third part of September and I do want to clean this before I do anything else and put it in the shed. Yeah, it's been a good tractor. Today I'm putting some of the cover crop in the ground, possibly all of it. But mainly I have to take care of the transporting of our animals back into the shed. And before we do that, let me just clean the mud off of this. Yeah, I've been working quite late into the night previously and it was a very atmospheric work since there was rain and I can't remember, possibly even thunder. But it was fairly atmospheric, yeah. And I have managed to cultivate the field that we are renting, field number 61, down in the valley. So all three arable fields that we had last year are ready for cover crop. Okay, I want to put this as far back as I can. So it's not in the way for my apple harvest, which is just around the corner. And I'm probably using a tractor and a trailer this time rather than what we used previously, the truck, the pickup and the trailer, because that way we can gather all the apples in one go and just come back. So I'm thinking of using my trusty Mercedes with a small trailer, which is technically designated for manure transport, but hey, who am I to say no? Yeah, it's been washed, so it's not really that bad, I think. And while we are at it, let's connect to the seeder. So this is exactly the same width as the cultivator was, so it's gonna take approximately the same time or the same amount of time to do the work as we had with cultivator, and it's mostly gonna be exactly the same type of work, so going up and down the field in 3-meter widths until we can say we are happily finished with the seeding. So if you pay attention to the crop calendar, we got Catchcrop mixture. We can put that in October still, so that's not too problematic. But flowering Catchcrop, we can put it in until today. So today is the last day that we can seed that. And as you can see with the weather forecast, we will have a bit of rain at 10, and then it's gonna be cloudy and then sunny throughout the day. But before the rain comes, I do want to load up with seed, so take care of that. Use the old Zettelmeyer if it will start, because I haven't been using it much and the battery isn't too happy with that. Yeah. I should probably leave it running until I finish with the cattle transport. the battery to charge up, unless the alternator is done for. That in that case it won't really charge up, but it should. I ain't getting any battery warnings, so it should be alive and kicking. Usually when the alternator is kaput, done for, dead, you do get a fail of charge warning. Trying to this as far front as I can on the tines. Alright, so how much do we have? 297 liters. I think that's gonna be plenty, so I won't be filling it up to the top. I'm gonna leave this outside because of the exhaust fumes. Alright, perfect. Right, so this is undercover, but I still want to close it up. I don't want to risk any water getting in. And I'm gonna be transporting the cattle with the Steyr, because the cows are very heavy, and when you put 6 of them in a trailer with the weight of a trailer and the tractor, it sometimes becomes a bit too much for the rigid track. So that's why we use the Steyr. There's plenty of horsepower, it has plenty of power. And it has enough weight to handle all of the pressure behind it. Alright. There you are, beauty. Man, it's a beautiful machine. I'm really happy we got it. It's quite a bargain too. Click, click, click. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna reunite our animals. I think it's gonna be grand. And I am also thinking of setting off the liquid manure. Perfect. We haven't really used this bower spreader because the grassland, which we usually do spread it on, has plenty of nitrogen, or at least it had in previous season. It might be worthwhile to spread in the spring next year to use up some of that liquid manure and, you know, slurry, and give a bit of a boost to the grassland. But I don't want to over drench it in nitrogen, you know, in all the good stuff, because then the grass doesn't yield as good as it would have with about a perfect amount. And I guess it also lowers our environmental score. which is important because it gives us a bonus with the payout. So yeah, why wouldn't we take care of that? Oh, look at that, the rain has come. Good, good. Hopefully there are no negative surprises this year at the pasture. Yeah, looks okay at first glance. And because we had such a small herd at the pasture this year, we didn't even have to bring in too much of feed to supplement the meadow, since the meadow did actually last out for almost the whole season. We only had to bring it over once. And even at that, it was only 3,000 liters with a small trailer. Okay, so looking at the bottom right corner where you see the weight of the tractor, we are at 9.5 tons. So let's see how far we get when we load all the cattle in. Alright, we got 6 animals in the trailer and we are looking at 13.1 tons. So that's 3.6 tons worth of animals in there, which is not a small amount of weight. But the Steyr should handle it without a hitch. And that's why I'm here, son. Look at how eager this one is to get back. Yeah, so the good news is we got all 10 animals still alive and kicking. Their health is perfect, so yeah. We have avoided the trouble that we've gotten in the previous year. And that's the most important thing that I wanted to get out of this year pasture season. And everything's gonna be fine. And I guess we are fine. But where was all this rain when we needed it for the crops? Where was it? It definitely feels better to switch to summer crops, considering we had so much trouble with the drought and with moisture. Well, not enough moisture for that. Usually people talk about, yeah, the dry years are making farmers have low crop profits and, well, low growth. But nobody talks about the too wet crops, don't they? When there's too much precipitation, too much moisture, and it negatively affects your yields. Okay, so we're now gonna be at 27 head herd for a little bit until we get the younglings in, till the calving season arrives. And of course I hit the wall. Of course I have. Alright, let's unload them and let's repeat. Alright, all the cows are back in their barn. And the service light is blinking, which means that we are gonna have to bring this one in the shop to do the regular service. The oil, the filters and whatnot. And to park this trailer back where I found it, I'm gonna do a little trick and reverse there, because I can't really fit it in. This tractor is too long and it doesn't turn as sharply as the Ridge does. Which is, I always found it funny because Ridgy sounds a lot like a word rigid. And word rigid doesn't really mean flexible or maneuverable. It means it's rigid. And it's one of the most maneuverable machines I have ever driven. So yeah, that's the funny thing, or at least funny for me. Whoops. Pushing the trailer with my front weight. Luckily there's a weight there, so I don't damage anything on the Steyr. Could you imagine that I poke a hole through the radiator and call it a day? Now that would be awesome. But yeah, these weights are nearly indestructible, so I'm not too fussed about it. But look at that, we got 27 animals. They are in perfect health and they are due to give birth, at least some of them. So yeah, that's nice. Alright, let's take this beauty straight into the workshop and I'm gonna ask my brother to work on it. In the meantime, the rain is probably gonna stop in about an hour, maybe two. And so we can go into the fields and start putting some cover crops in. And it was not so long ago when I drove this into the workshop to get it repaired. Yeah. Well, hopefully we're gonna get a lot of milk now when the calves are here. So it will all pay off. And you know what would be a good money scheme, if you ask me? To plant all the fields in grassland and just don't mow them in the spring, and you get paid like, I don't know, 200,000 for not mowing. You know, that would be an exploit, I think. So anyway, let's start the service. Okay, and now let's check if we go maintenance with standard with original parts. Why is it the preventive like 15,000 if we go with original equipment manufacturer? Why is that? I can't really wrap my head around it. extended is like 5,000, like third of that. And standard is like 4,000. Yeah, I'm gonna put that 1 grand in. And it's gonna be done at around 8 p.m. So good. Another 5 grand down the drain. And into the tractor. So yeah, I was thinking of using this trailer for transporting all that apples. I might just dump them in, you know, from the crates. If we'd be setting them on, I would leave them in the crates because the crates actually are like a perfect storage unit, liftable by hand and everything. I don't know. Yeah, I might just do that. I think it's gonna be good. Anyway, I'll be back when the rain stops. Alright, afternoon, early lunch. The skies have cleared up. I'm gonna try and turn this off and let's see where the battery ends up. We do have the voltage meter. Alright, it's over 12 volts, which is, I believe, okay. So we actually managed to okay. Huh, funny. Can't close the doors. Anyway, okay, yeah, I can. Yeah, it's actually funny how you... What was I trying to say? I don't know, I forgot. Yeah, when you're in my age. Okay, let's go to flowering, because this is the one that we need to put in. Flowering Catchcrop. Perfect. Yeah, I really wonder what will grow out of these fields with the flowering Catchcrop. I'm gonna put this here, the forest, and probably down by the lake, and I'm gonna put the mixture of Catchcrop down at the least field where we had canola previously. Alright, and we are back where we started the previous day, aren't we? We can go even faster with this attachment because there is very little drag behind us, so the strain on the engine is not too much, which makes it pretty good for doing work without doing damage. And I do believe this is going to be better done in a time lapse, so let's go at it. Right, and just this little piece, and we're done with the first field. I'm gonna do the rest off screen, because you have seen this and it's not gonna be any different. And this is pretty much gonna be it for this day. Next time we'll probably see you when the calves start arriving. I'm gonna give you a bit of an update on that. And I do want to make sure that you see what we're up to regarding milk sales. I think November is the time that we sell our canola. I have to recheck that date, but I think it's, yeah, in November. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time when we will continue with our adventure. And I am planning on leaving somewhere else. It's probably gonna be in a few months, maybe half a year. It depends, but I am planning on moving away and into a completely different place. Because I kind of got a liking for the lifestyle. And you know, the company is running itself, I don't need to care about that too much. But I would like to live out my childhood dreams. I don't know, I might just, how they say, pick up my tools and go. But yeah, that's still a few months ahead of us, so don't fret. We are gonna get a nice little conclusion on this Geistal in Austria. Say farewell to the family and move away. So yeah, until then, take care and goodbye.